Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Today is our weekly Thursday Facebook Juntos with Cathy. And Juntos means together, because I firmly believe that anything that we do to succeed, we need to be doing with others. So whether we're partnering, we're collaborating, we're brainstorming, we're much better when we're working together. So every week we bring in a different leader, a community contributor, someone that's doing something in our community we want to share with you. And this past few weeks, we've been introducing you to our new board members. And I'm very excited today to introduce you to Julio Ortiz. He is a small business owner of Gazpachos out on Franklin Boulevard, and he's also part of the leadership team over at Self-Help Federal Credit Union. Welcome, Julio. It's so good to see you.
Hi, Cathy. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're happy to have you here. So you're a new board member, and I really want to apologize because my intent had been to be able to showcase right here the mango from Gazpachos. And of course, with everything, I wasn't able to run down there and get there, but I want to start there. Tell us a little bit about this special spot you have on Franklin Boulevard. You're a small business owner and you have Gazpachos, and everyone has heard me say best mango in town. So if you also want to share where you go, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, of course. No, and again, very lucky to have the team that I have in Gazpachos. First of all, we have been in business for about 10 years now. And wow. We opened our storefront precisely 2 years ago. We're going on our third off of Franklin Boulevard. If you haven't seen, you got to come and check us out. And we offer a variety of items, starting with the actual native gazpacho from Morelia, Michoacan, that's where I'm from. And we, as you mentioned, our concept is plain and simple. It's freshly made. It's healthy. It's good for everybody with a little bit of a spice. And I always tell people we hope that we bring you a little bit of the flavor of our country, which we're very proud of.
That's so fantastic. I want to key in on one thing you said there. What you said was, we've been in business for 10 years. And oftentimes when you're an entrepreneur and suddenly you might have a brick and mortar, or people have heard about you, we're saying things like, oh, it's the best place to go for, any type of juice or fruit or anything like that. And people assume like, wow, it just sprung up. Like, how lucky are they to have a small business? But the reality is, let's go back. It's been 10 years. Can you share a little bit about that journey was to start your business?
Of course, and hats off and shout out to any small business here in the Sacramento region, because I know they're putting in the work, which is probably that's why they're not on Facebook Live, right? Because they're putting in the work, they're coaching the team, they're wearing that HR hat, they're probably doing the sales hat, now their operations hat, the compliance hat. So there's just so many hats that you got to wear when you're a small business and doing the best you can. And you're right, even though we've been in business for 10 years, when we started off, it was an absolute failure, I got to admit. And me and my family, we got together, and it was a festival here in Sacramento, actually, at Cal Expo, which is no longer being put together, but we won't forget it because we were so prepared. We were ready to sell like 2,000 cups. I mean, we brought so much inventory, and frankly, we never really spent a lot of time on the operations, on the pricing, on the marketing. I think there's a picture somewhere in Facebook when we started. Our rule was just wear white and you'll be all right. And a little sign was little boards that we put together. One of my sisters is great at writing, so she did a little board. But one of my other sisters is wonderful at preparing. And one of my brothers is poor in terms of, hey, let's bring this over. I remember my mom and my dad came to our festival. They even help us out. And so that was the first festival. I think the beauty, the beauty of it, I think we were having a lot of fun. We never felt bad or poorly about ourselves. The way we looked at it was, oh my God, we got a lot of work to do. And I think if you fast forward to, and I'll tell you in between, to probably 2019, where we had 2 teams going at once or up to 3 at once, we'll have a team in San Francisco, another in San Jose, maybe one here in Sacramento, plus the storefront, plus catering, plus farmers markets. So we grew drastically. Our payroll was probably 17, 18, 19, 20 employees, and all at once, operationally. So obviously, needless to say, I think we improved drastically on our execution, our how we go about doing our planning and our leadership and our pricing and understanding where are we going in the market. So all in between all those years really prepare us to continue to build. I'll tell you, 2019, probably I think we had triple our revenue for that year. And we continue to do that. I mean, I'll tell you, 2020 wasn't the greatest, obviously, because we lost drastic sources of revenue, but the store itself, with the support of the community, with the support of my family, with the support, obviously, of partners like yourself, having critical for any small businesses. I think understanding that we cannot do it all by ourselves or staying in our little caves on our four walls saying like, hey, come on in, here's your business. We got to continue to innovate. We got to continue to talk to other small businesses, talk to partners. Hey, what's working? And it's one of those things that's try and error, right? I don't think any entrepreneur really, they know where they're going, but there's no guarantee that plan is going to work. And so I think the beauty of an entrepreneur is you got to remain flexible, you got to remain optimistic, and you got to always be willing to put in the work and be the hardest working man in the room. And I think in this years, and to this date, we still have one of my family members employed by the company, and we really are that people continue to support us. And again, we try to do what's right. So we're pretty excited. And I know it's been a lot of work. We're still not where we want to be, but we continue to put in the work, and we're confident we're going to continue to make a difference here in the community. So we're excited.
That's so fantastic, Julio, to hear. And I love that you share part of your journey, because again, like I said, a lot of people see now, not realizing all the steps that had to happen to get to where you are. But one of the other things you said too is to continue learning and doing. One of the things I know about you is you do invest, in your own self-learning and making sure you're learning the business and, getting better and better. Can you share a little bit about, how you continue to educate yourself on the business world and what it is that you need to do?
Yeah, first of all, I do believe personal development is by far the most foundational thing any of us can do, whether you're an entrepreneur or you work out, you're the CEO of any company, or even if you work doing sales for any company. I think you want to see drastic change in your life or your personal relationships, what have you, is by investing time on the things that matter to you, whether it might be, whatever subject it's important to you. And so to me, I think when I left the corporate world many years ago, I made a commitment that personal development was never going to be a question. It's a daily thing, whether it might be reading a book, whether it might be attending a seminar, whether it might be investing time with people that will help me to level up, right? And, and I'll tell you, over the years, I do want to highlight, I've been extremely lucky to be mentored by many people and many friends, many family members, and that's helped me put in tremendous amount of work on my own self-development. I remember, I think if you ever see me, you'll probably always see me wear these two bracelets or one of them. That's committed to my success. And I'm a big believer that if you commit to your success, whatever that might be, right? Because for some people, for me, success is being happy, right? For me, success is making $1,000. For me, success is getting that car. For me, success is getting my kids through college. Whatever that looks like, and I think you stay true to it, it's always going to make a difference. So I think, and over the years, no matter where I'm into, everyone has enabled me to kind of put that forefront. And I carry this daily as a reminder. And inside this little black bracelet says, I was born to be great. And the reason why it says that is because if you don't remind yourself, if you don't accept yourself, and if you're not willing to take that, no one else will. And I'll take the opportunity to acknowledge my accent, because I think oftentimes people do think that I was born and raised in the States, which I wish I would have, but I was privileged to be born and raised in Morelia, Michoacan. I came here when I was 15. And when I came here, I came directly to the fields. So I work in the strawberry fields, picking strawberries in the beautiful small town of Baltimore, California. And I want to say that because, as you know, si se puede, right? It's all up to you. So I ended up managing to get into college in 2 years. Don't ask me how I did it. Maybe I was lucky enough that, again, mentors and people saw the potential in me. That's partly why today I mentor people, I enable people, and I'm part of things that make a difference, right? And then when I made it to college, I graduated in 3.5 years, even though, keep in mind, I was kicked out of one of my classes because I was not college ready. But you don't let those setbacks or those put you in a depression or bring you down, but rather hopefully use those as a set stone to say, okay, what do I need to do? Kind of redirect, right? Maybe I need to do more of this or adjust. And so again, put that into perspective. And then I was lucky enough at 21 when I graduated from college. One of the banks allow me to manage a bank. I mean, at 21 years old, managing a bank for millions of dollars. And people with very, very much money. I was pretty blown away, but I never take it for granted. I always took it as a opportunity for me and as a privilege. To this day, anything that I do, even being the head of Gazpachos, again, I just happen to be lucky that I'm surrounded by a wonderful team, whether might be people in the store, my amazing family, my partner, my direct family, my friends and relationships. But it is worth noting that, and so again, personal development, I think it's something that we all must invest on, and particularly entrepreneurs, because if you don't pause for a minute, and again, I say this over and again, to invest time to plan for your success, you're essentially planning to fail, and then you're gonna end up blaming people, blaming others, or blaming the economy, or blaming somebody else versus taking a step back and say, okay, what can I do? You want to be in control, and you want to be committed to whatever matters to you, for sure. So,
Julio, I'm blown away, actually, to be honest, because I didn't know that part of your story. I'm going to be now to tell the truth. So I'm guilty too of thinking I met you and you've always been so polished and so professional, and just assumed that you were on this fast track to the business world, early on. And it's a testament again to what we all refer to, right, as an immigrant experience, meaning that we all have that in our blood from somewhere, whether it's us personally or someone in your family or you. And I think that's what binds us together, understanding that work ethic. If you're going to succeed, you got to put in the work to make it happen. You're certainly a testament to that. You have this small business, and yet you spoke a little bit that you managed a bank early on, but right now you're also part of the leadership team over at Self-Help Federal Credit Union, right? Did I get that?
Yes.
Right, great. And they have an interesting way that they do business that's really helpful for the small business in general. So I also want to point out, in case people don't get that, entrepreneur, more than a full-time job, also full-time job over here at Self-Help Federal Credit Union. And we're also making, other small businesses have, their dreams come true. So tell us what that's like and what the business model is that the credit union has.
Yeah. So as I had mentioned, when I left the corporate world, I said, okay, I'm done with banking. I want to keep doing my thing. I was doing business advising, business consulting. Obviously, at that time, I'm also growing Gazpachos. And I was tapped by one of the leadership team. In fact, he just retired, and he's like, hey, we really need a leader in Sacramento. We want to come this way. The credit union is very mission oriented, very focused on helping minority, women-owned, and enabling those that often are neglected or perhaps unrepresented. And I generally, the first thing I said, I'm okay, I'm doing well, thank you. I'm already starting my business, I'm doing consulting. But he said, hey, come on over, I want to tell you how we do and what we do. And Self-Help Federal Credit Union offers a variety of products, and they're geared for those people that often do not have access to mainstream capital. And once I kind of got into it, I started learning that it was so mission driven. And not to say that other banks aren't. In fact, I have the honor to work for major banks that I learned so much from. And this credit union was slightly different, though. The heart and the passion for what they did was transparent. And it wasn't perfect. It's not the corporate world where they just drop money on a system and technology is no big deal. In fact, I remember I saw so many loopholes. I was like, well, I'm not sure if I want to be part of this. But one thing I did knew is, we do a lot of products for the immigrant communities, And again, I will never, and as you said, I know you're just learning this. Many people doesn't know that I started picking strawberries in the field, so no one can tell me about hard work. And I wanted to be the catalyst for it, for change, for helping people to see that because he said further, right, that you're able to make it happen if you really set your mind to it. You just got to put in the work and be diligent. So self-help right now is in the process of expanding here to Sacramento. We're about to open a branch here on Franklin Boulevard. And the products, again, are geared for those individuals that often are challenged on their credit, or maybe they're being denied for whatever reason. We're open to listen to the story and say, how do we help you to buy a home? Or even individuals that might not be here permanently, DACA individuals, what have you. Hey, how do we get you a home? How do we get you to buy that building, right, that you want to buy for your business? And, most recently, I got to be part of the PPP loans on the first round. And probably I can say all of the loans we did, even though we're a small team and we're a small credit union, we're probably 90% to people of color, minorities, and also women-owned businesses, and also not for profit, which is something that many of our partners reach out to us and say, "Hey, I'm calling this my main bank that I've been with for 20 years, but as you can imagine, and you firsthand probably saw it, the banks get so saturated." And we made a conscious decision to say, okay, we're going to help as much as we can. And we had a wonderful team working 24/7 around the clock. And to this day, we're doing the same thing on round 2. We're helping so many PPP clients. And that's just one of the things you mentioned, the home ownership. So it's been wonderful.
That's so great, Julio. Can you say, you said you just bought a building on Franklin Boulevard, and this is going to be the first bank on the boulevard. And so can you explain why that's a big deal in the community to finally have a place where you can do banking locally, meaning within your neighborhood, it's close by? Because a lot of people who don't have that experience, I'm in between, 4 different banks myself, so it wouldn't occur to me, but why is that a big deal?
Well, it's a big deal because, back when President Obama was in office, he declared certain areas are some of the poorest areas in the country, right? And it's known as what's called a promise zone, right? And these areas per income, household income, tend to be extremely low, or often they don't speak the language, where it might be the case. And so if you look around, most banks, to my knowledge, in fact, most recently, I know there hasn't been a bank around at all because it's not profitable, right? They don't want to invest the time. They don't want to invest the effort. Most banks want to make a profit just like any other businesses. And so they decide, hey, I'll go nearby, but I won't be there because then I won't get the traffic that we get. For us, and again, this is where I feel very lucky. They brought me on board intentionally to help them decide, where should this bank go? Where are we buying that building? Where are we making this investment? And when we started searching, I'll tell you, I was part of many community partners, and sometimes I pinch myself because I feel very lucky that I get to be in conversations like this that are going to change the life of many people forever. And I know this credit union is not going anywhere. Once we get it up and running by the end of the year, it'll be there forever. And so being in that location particularly is literally coming, the financial institution coming to you, to your home, to make a drastic impact locally right there and then. True, we're going to help many people around, and that's what we've been doing. But I think you'll see a drastic change in that surrounding those zip codes, in those neighborhoods, that you'll see a lot of money coming in. And so we're excited. We got tons of support from the city, tons of support from the community. And I think you'll see renovations starting fairly soon. And we're going to make it a big deal so people can put their money where it belongs and come and support credit unions that really make a big difference. And there's many out there, by the way. I do want to acknowledge banks. Obviously, without money, we can't do anything. So it's huge. But self-help is slightly different. We do things a little unusual, and I appreciate that of them, of course. So.
Yeah, no, it sounds fantastic. And like I said, as someone who's been with the chamber now, 8 years, and, working through all of this and working in the neighborhoods and seeing that. And I just remember that was a constant that had come up, that someone had said, there isn't a place locally for us. There isn't a place for us to go. And not really even myself comprehending, how does that work, or what does that mean? Or you can still go to an ATM. But the reality is, when you need the business loans, we've told, the chamber, you need to develop relationships with the bankers. They need to know you and get to do that. And if it's not close by, if it's not somewhere where you can actually get to know a Julio, then, it again puts you in a disadvantage. So we're looking forward, of course, to that big grand opening and wanting to be there with you when that happens. So you mentioned very briefly, 2020 was, it was a change in catalyst for many, right? And, we've heard stats of what happened in minority-owned businesses, Latino-owned businesses, but there's this other story too, this resiliency of so many that actually pivoted their business, and have become, actually found more success in it, new businesses that were still open. As you look ahead now, what were some things you did to pivot, and where do you see success moving forward?
Sure. I think, 2020, early in probably January, February, we were set to kill it. I mean, our priorities were clear. We were ready to deploy the teams and make it happen. Come to March, we had to essentially adjust. And as you know, most of us didn't know what was going to happen. Was this just a 30-day deal where we can reopen and maybe festivals are back up, farmers markets are back up? What was it going to happen? And I think many of us kind of scrambled a little bit, like, okay, what was it going to be? One thing I never doubted was to staying true to the commitments for us, for Gazpachos and for our team. And I think many small businesses that I see that they're still excelling is like, you look back to your priorities, to your mission statement, your vision, and kind of say, okay, how am I going to stay true to this, right? Despite of maybe now behavior on people, they're buying differently. So we immediately took action the minute we saw, we didn't want to think about it too much, analyzing. I think many of the people I work with, oftentimes they say, Julio, you want to move too fast. But I'm comfortable making mistakes. And I often tell them, hey, we're going to keep making mistakes along the way, but I think moving is still better than not taking action. And we decided to integrate online platforms very, very quickly. We decided to make delivery available. We decided to also continue to build relationships. So we partnered with a local business to do a sale. We decided to also partner with other local businesses to do pop-ups. We decided to do giveaways. We wanted to stay visible, obviously, and we continue a partnership with you guys. That's you guys have been tremendous support. And all those little actions were intentional, and I think that's true. We can see that many businesses that didn't have an execution plan or even just cruise through it, they probably still stumbling with it. We partnered with Yelp. We hosted a class live. That was wonderful because it was elite Yelp reviewers that were exposed to our Mexican mangonada, which, by the way, they rave. You look at our Yelp reviews, they're raving about our product. So those little actions that we decided to integrate made a drastic difference. True, we lost the walking traffic, being able to sit down. I absolutely agree. That would have been a lot of help. But rather than lamenting ourselves and saying, oh, my God, right, we said, what can we do? What can we change? We added the patio, something we didn't have before. We only had 2 tables there. We were able to work it out with the landlord. So we mobilized very, very quickly. We added team. In fact, early in the year, we added 2 more people to our team. And we partnered also with Food Bouquets to do deliveries, to continue the integration, to capture the traffic, whether it might be directly through us or through our partners. And that's, I think, what's helped us thrive, and it's probably going to continue to help us in the near future. I think as we see this year, partnerships are critical for us. Community involvement is critical. Hence, I'm sitting on the board. I think not only is just about giving back, but to me, it's like genuinely being able to pick up the phone and call the local organization and say, hey, I am the owner. What can I do for you? What can I do to help? And we've been lucky that responses from many local organizations around our business, they've been very open to support us. And I think, again, I don't think success is an accident. I think, it's a mixture of both, but mostly it's going to be that hard work and those intentions that you said, so we can continue to work. And probably, I think I shared this with you recently, we added 1 more person to our payroll on Monday. And so we are, growing, and we might make an announcement fairly soon. The sneak peek right now I'll give you. There's a possible new coming in, so stay tuned. We are getting this close on closing the deal. Once we sign, we'll make it public. So we're very excited, which means there will be an opportunity to add payroll, probably 2-3 people. I know it's not a lot for a big corporation, but for a small business or someone like myself that takes that very seriously, it means the world, because I can't, sometimes I'll tell you, before I go to sleep, I'm like, I ask God to please continue to give me guidance, because I have tremendous responsibility, right? All these students depend on that extra income to be able to pay for their books, or whether anybody else that works with us, hey, they support their families. So we want to be able to sustain and scale to be able to continue. So.
Well, Julio, this has gone by way too fast. I actually had a whole list of other questions for you, but I'm so thrilled to have you on our board here at the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. You just bring this perspective that's so needed, and this whole way that you view small business, and as us, a small business owner, it's only going to be that much more helpful as we continue with our mission of making sure we're helping businesses, grow and develop and be educated as to what do they need to do to get through tough times and to get through successful times. We don't, that too can add a whole different level of everything, right? When you start building that success, you have to continue to be thinking, what else, you talked about it, HR, compliance, marketing, it just grows, with it. And you're such a testament to hard work and, believing in yourself. And we are looking forward to getting more messages from you. If you want to come back and tell us more about this sneak peek or where you're going to be, we'd love to have you, share that with us. But for everyone that's been here with us, thank you so much for joining us. You've been meeting Julio Ortiz, and he is a small business owner for Gazpachos, as well as on the leadership team at the Self-Help Federal Credit Union. And we're honored that he's on our board. And next week, we will bring back another board member that you'll get to meet, and you'll get to know more about the leadership that's happening here at the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber. Hopefully you can see that things are moving and growing. We've got a lot of good energy, a lot of good ideas that are coming forth, and we're excited about what we're doing here in the Sacramento region. So until next week, when you come here back with Juntos with Cathy, we'll see you then next Thursday. Thanks, and have a great day.